Hi out there, it's me, Odin with Rainy River Outfitters, and today we have a special woodshed review. We're going to be reviewing the Winchester Model 94, and this gun actually has kind of a special spot in my heart, really. My father got this gun in 1965 from his father, who were both amazing outdoorsmen. They spent a lot of time out there, and my father, he was the inspiration behind me getting out and exploring and hunting and trapping, snowshoeing. Uh, it's just been it's been a wonderful rifle for our family, and someday I'll be passing it down to my son. But before we jump into it, I'd like you guys to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and it's to keep you updated with future reviews. Leave me a comment on anything that you guys want to see in the future. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into it. What you're looking at here today is a lever action rifle developed by the illustrious John Browning. The Winchester Model 1894 is one of the most successful smokeless powdered lever action rifles in history, and it has sold well over 7 million units since its inception in 1894. But let's talk about how this rifle came to be and what was the driving success behind it in the last century. So it all began in 1893. Winchester's ammunition division began experimenting with a new smokeless powder loading cartridge with the powder, which was less corrosive than the more traditional black powder. The smokeless black powder contained more energy that allowed hunters to tackle bigger game at much further ranges. Browning, at the height of his career, was tasked with developing a new firearm designed around the new powder. Additionally, Browning was asked to make the firearm both simple to manipulate as well as easier to manufacture. And doing what Browning has always done, and what he's done best, he developed the Winchester Model 1894, applying for a patent on the device on August 21st, 1894. By November of that same year, the Winchester Model 94 was made available to the public. So the Winchester Model 1894 was the first commercial American repeating rifle developed for smokeless powder. It was originally chambered to fire two metallic black powder cartridges, the 3240 Winchester and the 3855 Winchester. In 1895, however, Winchester moved to a different steel material for rifle manufacturing, allowing the rifle to be taken on a higher pressure round. And that's how the 1894 model that you see here was offered. The 3030 Winchester, also known as the 30 WCF, quickly became synonymous with the Winchester Model 1894. The Winchester Model 1894 was almost an instant success for Winchester. Its lightweight and compact design, paired with the power-packing punch of a 30-30 round, which most hunters out there know, you deer hunt with a 30-30 round, you're going to get the job done. It made it popular amongst hunters. It was a success as we were pushing even further during World War I. After the U.S. Army signed an order for 1,800 rifles to members of the Signal Corps, they were stationed in the Northwest. The numbers 835-800 to 852-500. These rifles were later sold as military surplus after the war, and if you could find one and come across it, you absolutely have found an amazing rifle that's going to be worth a whole lot of money. The Winchester Model 1894 went to war again during World War II, this time in the hands of the Canadian Pacific Coast Rangers guarding against Japanese invasion along the west coast of Canada. It's been one of the best-selling lever-action rifles in American history. The Winchester Model 1894 hit the 1 million mark in 1927. The millionth rifle was presented to President Calvin Coolidge. President Harry S. Truman was awarded the millionth and a half in 1948, while President Dwight D. Eisenhower took possession of the 2 millionth Winchester Model 1894. So there's been some revamps and revisions with this over the years. The Winchester Model 1894 underwent several revisions as time passed and the wants of the consumer changed. First, minor alterations came in the form of the name change in 1927 after the millionth production was done. They dropped it down to simply the Model 94. And that's the same name it still uses in production today. In 1964, right before this model was actually made in 1968, I believe, but in 1964 the rifle underwent a revamp with a manufacturing change in order to bring down cost. Changes included replacing forged steel receivers and internal components. They went ahead with steel, in addition to swapping out solid steel pins. The hollow roll pins through the Model 94 still performed. Its aesthetic left a lot to be desired and eventually pushed the pre-1964 Model 94s into premium antique pricing. And as many of you may know, if you go out there and you look for some of those pre-1964, they are a couple grand, even more, depending on the history of it. By 1989, the Model 94's parent company was bankrupt and had recently been purchased by FN Herstal. The Europeans evaluated the rifle's manufacturing performance using CNC and computer numeric machining to introduce bar stock back into the manufacturing process in a cost-effective manner. Solid pins made their triumphant return. However, FN Herstal's manufacturing changes weren't all positive. The Model 94 today is still alive and well, though currently manufactured in Japan and imported stateside by Browning. The Model 94 still continues its tradition of an easy-to-operate, lightweight, downing deer, targets in the field. It's a true iconic piece of American history. This was also the rifle that they talked about, stating that this is the rifle that won the West. But what they don't realize is the West was already won by the time that came along. The development of this rifle, though, was it was brilliant. So in 1919, Winchester's vice president, Edwin Pugsley, brilliantly coined the marketing slogan, "The gun that won the West." He was referring to this Winchester Model 1873 lever action, which ironically enough was on the verge of being discontinued, as by that time the West had already been won. So this is the 1894 model, obviously. That gun was the Winchester Model 1894 that was used, ushered in the age of smokeless powder and longer ranges, which we've seen right here. Unlike the Winchester 73 with its toggle link action that dated from the Henry rifle in 1860, the Winchester 94 was the latest production that they've come up with. The Model 1894 was a different lever action entirely, even though it retained the familiar side-loading tubular magazine look of the earlier Winchesters. Winchester Repeating Firearms paid Browning $15,000 to buy the rights to the Winchester. Well, which is what you see now as the Winchester Model 94. Overall, it's been a fantastic rifle. And a few things I'd like to say. You know, my first deer was downed with this rifle. My dad's first deer was downed with this rifle. And I'm hoping that someday my son's first deer would be downed with this rifle. In closing, I'd just like to say I'm happy that you guys are enjoying the content. Go ahead, like, subscribe to this channel if there's anything else that you'd like to see. And as always, get out and explore the great outdoors.